It's as if saying, I am in, you are out, now shut the door behind me. 2 weeks ago, I was at a libertarian conference, and we were debating open borders versus closed borders with a lady called Candace Owens. How many people here have heard of Candace Owens? Well, for those who have not heard, she's a black Republican and ardent supporter of Donald Trump. And I would like nothing better than to see her and, say, Ben Shapiro in the White House in 2024. I am a supporter of Trump because he's reducing taxes. He doesn't go far enough. I would end the income tax. And also, he's reducing regulations, all very positive for the business. Yeah. But I don't agree on certain policies of Trump, and I don't agree on certain policies of what were being advocated by Candace Owens. She said some of the same things which Raymond said. One thing which got her a lot of applause was, if we lock our homes, why can't we lock our country? And among a libertarian audience, she got a lot of applause for that. Well, I am completely in favor of locking your home. There is no problem at all. Your home is your castle. You decide whom you meet. You decide who's to be kept out of it. Yeah. Not only that, even in your business, you decide whom you entertain, whom you don't entertain. People here attended the Sprots conference. How many people attended the Sprots? Yes. One thing which Rick Rule was saying was that they select their exhibitors. They don't give an equal opportunity to everyone and anyone. They select on basis of integrity, honesty, and whatever other criteria that he may have. As Doug Casey would say, it's all about exclusivity, not inclusivity. Not being inclusive, it's all for being exclusive. Even a gay person is not served by the best cake maker in town. That's his right if it's against his religious beliefs. I particularly find that practice abhorrent. I will not go to that cake maker, but I'll protect his right to not serve anybody, because if you make someone serve to someone he doesn't believe in, that's slavery. And I have gay people as my friends. I would not go to him again, but that doesn't prevent me from saying that he has a right to discriminate. I would abolish all anti-discrimination laws. But when it comes to a country, what is virtue as far as a private person is concerned, when it comes to a country, it would be the biggest folly on earth. How can Raymond or anybody else, or even Donald Trump, decide what 330 million Americans want? It's not about the right of the immigrants. It's about the right of the Americans whom they want to associate with. If I come here and stay at the Fairmont Hotel, they want my business. If I attend the Sprots conference, that's between me and Rick Rule. If I attend this conference, it's between Jayant and me. The government doesn't come into the picture. It is all about voluntary interaction. Have you heard of a word called dharma? Has anybody heard of what is dharma? Well, dharma is a word in India, in Buddhism, which means your creed, your philosophy, your truth, what you believe in. And as a libertarian, I can only believe in voluntary interaction of people. Now, as far as foreigners and a bias against foreigners is concerned, I understand it. I studied it. There is an evolutionary basis for it. Yeah. People across the hill, if you were not careful, belong to a different tribe. They could come and kill you. And you had to be very careful of that. Crime. That's one reason why I don't like foreigners that much. Yeah. Maybe they can kill us. But then let us look at the statistics. That means, and the homicide rate is pretty good surrogate to the crime rate. The Indian crime rate, the homicide rate in India is half that of the US. China is half that of India. So that means the biggest two countries which are there from where people immigrate, no problem as far as the crime is concerned. Yes, Mexicans have a higher crime rate. But again, if you compare it with Chicago, Chicago has twice the crime rate. So do we start limiting people from Chicago coming to Los Angeles? By applying the logic of crime, how can you stop, have a bigger crime? You're trying to construct a wall. That's another matter. Now, are you even going to succeed in keeping the immigrants out? No. There was a talk by a person called Penn Jillette. Have you heard of the Jillette and Taylor show in Las Vegas? Now, Jillette is a person after my own heart. He's a libertarian. He said he will not use the government to do anything, to commit any violence, which he would not be prepared to do himself. Yes, you use the government where you would use violence, which means against kidnapping, against rape, against homicide, against harm to your property perhaps, but that's about all. Now, what's going to happen? Remember also that the immigrants the people who came to America legally were responsible for 9/11. Government is particularly ineffective in what it does. The wall is not going to be enough because he has showed in his YouTube video, go to his YouTube video of Penn Jillette, he created a wall himself and he had 3 groups of Mexicans saying, let's see how soon you can breach this wall. It took minutes, not more than 10 minutes. He had a team go under the wall, he had a team go through the wall, and he had a team go over the wall. Within 10 minutes, all those three teams had breached the wall. What's going to happen with the wall? The government will fail, but then it will not end the program. They will want a bigger budget for it. They will want searchlights, they will want barbed wires, they will want armed guards, which they are already having. And is that the kind of America you would want? Now, again, even now, in the guise of keeping the immigrants out, another thing which Candace Owen raised was, are we going to get rid of the jobs? 50% of the jobs at the security of the American-Mexican border are by Hispanics. Now, those Hispanics will lose their jobs. That took me back to Nepal. In Nepal, during festival times, children on the street stand with ropes and cars can't pass, vehicles can't pass. They stop, they give $1 or $2 to the kids, and then they allow the cars to pass. All the border control people are doing is obstructing voluntary interaction. And she's trying to protect those jobs. But she's very smart. She's trying to get the Hispanic vote. That's all that she was trying to do over there. Now, if you're going to do that, if you're going to be a force for obstruction, I'm not going to be with you at all. The second reason why people are afraid of foreigners is a natural amount of disgust. They may bring disease, they might kill you. In any case, in the humans also there are microbes, and our immune system will reject foreigners. And I'm not saying that we are microbes, but at the same time, the same evolutionary pressures which were on the microbes were on us as well. And that is another reason why you want to keep the foreigners out. But again, the government does a particularly bad job of doing that. In 1917, the mayor of El Paso decided that it's not a good idea to let foreigners, Mexicans, come in. They were too unclean and poverty-ridden. By the way, this feeling against the foreigners has been there for ages. Earlier, in 1840 and 1850, it was against the Irish and the Germans. They were considered unclean, bringing poverty and disease into America. There was a political party formed for this purpose. Then there were the Italians who were bringing the mafia. In 1917, he decided that all of them are going to get gasoline and kerosene baths to keep them out there. And okay, fine, that happened. And they were trying to prevent a disease called typhus, and they started fumigating the clothes with a chemical called Zyklon B. And at one time, this happened in the prisons. They were carrying out this activity, and 27 of Hispanic prisoners blew up in flames because somebody lit a cigarette and threw it at the kerosene. But again, fine, I'm not on that. But the unintended consequence was that this system of fumigating, gassing, was picked up by a doctor who took it to Germany, and the Nazis used it against the Jews. That was the unintended consequence. In 1918, the entire South was devastated by an epidemic. It had nothing to do with the Spanish, it had nothing to do with the typhus. It was Spanish flu brought by American soldiers from Kansas. So I am very chary of even giving the right, because you never know where it ends up in. The third reason why people are against immigration is unfair exchange. In fact, some of the libertarians say that is about 90% of the argument against people who come from abroad. That they're taking welfare benefits, that they're taking free education. I won't go into details because there are various studies saying, well, they contribute more, but let's not even go into those details. I would say one thing, just absolutely, totally ban welfare for immigrants. If you're principled, you will ban all welfare for local people as well. That's the only consistent stand with which a libertarian can take. Don't go to the root of the problem. Milton Friedman said that welfare and immigration are incompatible. So get the welfare out, no welfare benefits, no voting rights for immigrants so that they don't take over, though I think the damage is already done. As Doug Casey will say, the barbarians are already within the gates when you have people like AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Bernie Sanders inside. What are you afraid of poor immigrants? Half the people in America are already voting for them. So America has already lost that battle. Those are the real people from where the danger stems, not from some immigrants who are coming here to do certain essential things. As the speaker before me said, the American agriculture will collapse. Yes, it will. I see myself in the hotel I was. Doug Casey, thank you very much for the breakfast. But if you could get people from abroad, and there's no reason to give them the minimum wage, abolish the minimum wage as well. If you had people from abroad coming and working at low rates, it will not take American jobs. The American people who are serving us breakfast would be supervising them and would be taking the order and customizing it. Instead of just throwing scrambled eggs at us, maybe we don't like them. Maybe we would have wanted an omelet. But because, and there are numerous such examples that I can give you over here of jobs not getting done. In fact, 91, I came to America. Everything was approved for my green card, and I gave it up. It was too much nonsensical work, which I was not used to, and I could have used my productive work somewhere else. I didn't even know that cars got dirty. Then my wife said, yes, our cars were cleaned by the drivers. I had never been inside a gas station. Forget about full-service gas stations. Now, if you had people from abroad, all these jobs can get done. In Singapore, there are 250,000 foreign domestic workers. Now, people value their privacy over here. You may not want foreign domestic workers, but there are some people who will want. In fact, some people came to me after the conference and said, yes, if I could get people at $2 an hour, I would keep them for my elderly mother, which is what is happening in Singapore. They take care of the general household duties, they take care of the children, they take care of the elderly, and that's another thing. The population over here is aging. You need the immigrants to come over here. Look at what's happened to Japan. It used to be a superpower. It used to be said it's going to be a superpower. Its population is aging, dying, and nobody even talks about Japan any longer. The next benefit, we have talked about China so much at Sprouts. How are we going to compete against China? There are only 330 million Americans versus 1.4 billion Chinese. It's not possible. It's like a team of 5 basketball players against 20 players. Even 5 against 6 is too much advantage. Until Chairman Mao was there, it was okay. You could compete against them because Chairman Mao had Absolutely put them in shackles. Now the shackles have come off. They've done free market reforms. How are you going to compete against the Chinese? This is what I say. Open the doors, open the borders, let those Chinese companies come here, abolish welfare, abolish so that you don't get the wrong type of people, abolish the income tax, and let those companies come along with their workers and do what they're doing in China over here. Create the cell phones over here. You know, people say, is America too crowded? Not by any measure. Let the market decide what is too crowded or not. The density of population in America is only 87 people. I won't even talk about Canada because that's zero almost. 87 per thousand, 87 per square mile, 87. If you get all the people from the world coming to the US, the density would go up to 2,000 people per square mile. A disaster. Unless you considered Monaco. That has 67,000 people per square mile. It's a small place, but a perfect example. It's also twice as rich as America in purchasing power parity terms, and in nominal terms, 4 times as rich, and in terms of wealth, 10 times as rich. Has it affected their quality of life? They live the longest. Their life expectancy is 89.5, the highest. So why does this happen? Because people want to go where other people are. There's a constant movement from the rural areas to the urban areas. In China, a few decades ago, 18% of the people were in the cities. Today, 60% are in the cities. It's a worldwide movement because people become more productive when they move to places where there are other people. How much more productive? If you double the population of a city, various analyses have shown the productivity and the income of everyone goes up by between 7 to 15%. So it's a big sacrifice not to have people over there. Imagine new towns in the US opening up. Imagine all the work which is not getting done, getting done. Again, people talk about, oh, low-value jobs, you will destroy jobs. And I say to you over here, jobs are meant to be destroyed. Thank God for destruction of jobs, because if jobs are not destroyed, that means you're not progressing. We would not be sitting here in this conference. We would not have been doing the Sprott conference. And certainly 2,500 people would not be there at the Libertarian Conference in Las Vegas, were jobs not getting destroyed. We would all be toiling in the fields in agriculture. Productivity means innovation, productivity means trade, productivity means immigration to people where they can go and maximize the comparative advantage they have, and that's the only thing which is going to result in progress. So to save jobs is the worst thing you can do. And where I come from in India, at one time, the entire India banking system shuddered to a halt against the use of computers. They said it will destroy jobs. Today, if you try to take the computers away from them, they will go on strike. So jobs are meant to be lost. Innovation, trade, and immigrants will destroy jobs so that we can do more productive jobs. Otherwise, everything would have been destroyed. Now go the other way. Start halving the population until you come to 1%. I don't know about you, but if you were stranded on the island, I can't even repair a fuse myself. I will not be able to survive. I can't hunt and gather. Those days are gone now. Each person is doing such specialized work that you try to tell him to do everything. That's nonsense. The only reason how we can get away from the phobia of foreigners is by having trade, by getting over and becoming interdependent. There's no need to be doing everything yourself when you can buy it cheaper from outside. Absolutely no reason. So I would open the country to trade, to immigration, to movement of capital. It's all about voluntary interaction. And nobody has ever given me a worthwhile answer of why we should stop voluntary interaction. Is it about culture? I come from Dubai. Dubai has 9 times more foreigners than local people, 9 times more. Just Google it up and see. It doesn't affect their culture at all. They don't give them voting rights. I'm saying don't give any voting rights. They don't give any welfare. I'm saying don't give any welfare. Law and order. They have people in the airlines, Emirates, sometimes they make the announcements, people from 28 countries. That's how we become the best in the world. Emirates airline is arguably the best airline in the world today. It has crew from 28 because you get the best people from all over the world. And that's exactly America's strength. So this business of keeping the America white only is just going to be destructive to America. And if Raymond, you really mean that, then you should be the first person to leave America. I don't see you being white, unless being white is an idea and a metaphor. America is an idea, and if you tell me that immigration has to be stopped, then throw the Statue of Liberty into the sea. I cannot even say that you send it to some other country, because America is the last chance the world has, and no other country deserves it more than America.